I don't know everything about the Final Fantasy series, and I'm no expert. I recently beat my first Final Fantasy game, and that was Final Fantasy 13. I mean, I've played Final Fantasy games my whole life, but this is the first time I've ever beaten any. And Final Fantasy 13 is a universally hated game, and it's often at the bottom of top lists. If you look up the best Final Fantasy games, it's usually towards the bottom. I loved most of it. After that, I beat the Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and then I beat the original Final Fantasy 7. I don't like the Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I mean, it looks great, right? But it was all bloated filler content, and it was just bad content. They made up so many characters and locations and concepts that didn't exist in the original game, and they're just so bad and stupid and such a waste of time. For example, in the original game, you walk past this mechanical hand thing, and that was it. You walked past it, and you fought some monsters, and that was it. In the remake, they took the mechanical hand, and they thought that they should make it into a whole puzzle section where you have to use the mechanical hand and pick up crates and put them down and pick up Eris and like move her around to solve this puzzle, and it's so slow. It takes like 2 hours, and it was just so stupid and pointless and a waste of time. And the feeling you get the entire time that you play the Final Fantasy VII Remake, most of the game, okay, in the beginning it was okay, but throughout the game, the main thought in my head is just like, what the fuck is this game? What am I doing? Like, why? Why does this exist? It's just, that's like the entirety of the remake, is picking up these little things and expanding on them and making you so tired of them until you can't stand them anymore, and then you move on. The original Final Fantasy VII had mini games. You know, it had things to do on the side other than like the combat and the story. There were mini games. There was a motorcycle mini game, a snowboarding mini game, submarine mini game, and there was one really that I just hated. I think it's the actual worst part of the game. For the most part, these mini games in the original Final Fantasy VII don't overstay their welcome. Like, you're just at the point where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm done with this. I don't want to ride the bike. I don't want to snowboard anymore. Like, it's getting boring. It's kind of cool, but now it's getting boring. And then it's done. And then you don't have to deal with it again. When you look at the Final Fantasy VII Remake, this game is like 70% mini games, and they all suck. And like, they all overstay their welcome. Like, every single one of these things that you need to do, for example, you need to flip a switch at the right time with Barrett and Tifa. Okay, the motorcycle part, they just blew it up in the remake, and it's just so frustrating and annoying, and like, you have to kill this boss while on the motorcycle, which wasn't in the original game. In the original game, you have the biking section, and then you have a fight. You have a boss fight. It's just a normal like combat fight, and that was fine. But in the remake, they're like, let's put the whole boss fight in the motorcycle section, which sucks in the first place. Like, I don't want to play the motorcycle section. Now you have to fight a boss motorcycle section. I died twice to that boss, and it's just like dread. Like, I dreaded, like, I have to do that again. Like, I didn't want to do that in the first place. Now I need to do it 2 more times. Final Fantasy VII, the remake, a lot of the game, I was just thinking, like, I want to get this over with. Like, I want this to be done with. I want to be done with this game. I wanted to beat it, you know, like, because I wanted to see what happened, like, what they do with the story, everything. But I was just thinking, like, can this please be over? Like, can I please just be done with this game forever? You know, like, I don't want to touch this ever again. That was the feeling that I had. And then you compare that to the original Final Fantasy VII, which I'm playing, by the way, at the same time. I played this yesterday, 2021. These are 2 games. One was made last year. One was made 24 years ago. And the one that was made 24 years ago, I want to keep playing. I'm like, damn, like, is this game gonna end? Like, that's the difference. I'm thinking, like, this game's about to end. I'm about to beat it. Like, I don't want to beat it. I want to do, like, these other things. But I was thinking, like, the story has, like, reached that point. I'm about to kill Sephiroth. I'm about to beat the final boss. I'm about to beat the game. And then the game was like, no, you just beat part one. And I was like, what the hell, really? And there's just so much more game after that. I thought I was done with the game, and there's so much more. So that's the difference. Like, one, I just wanted to be over with. The remake, I just wanted it to end.
This sucks! I want to go back! Times like these, you gotta savor.
Oh no, if you're about to ask me to dance, then don't.
Come on, don't be shy. How about you, Cloud?
I don't dance.
Liar! In the remake, there was this rhythm section where Cloud is dancing, and that was actually kind of cool, but it was just so weird. I don't like the remake combat. I actually prefer the turn-based combat, but I was playing the Nintendo Switch version of Final Fantasy VII, and you can speed up the game. If you click on the left stick, it goes 3 times as fast, and I did that a lot. Like, if you want to grind, or there's a long battle, or there's a long way you need to walk, you can just turn that on and do it fast, so that was really nice. I don't think I would like the turn-based combat as much without that. It's just a really nice quality of life thing. For example, there was a desert area with cactuars that give you a lot of gil, and these giant worms that give you some nice XP. So you can just turn on this 3 times mode and just grind for money and XP. This game is deep and kinda insane. Like, when you're learning about Barrett's backstory and meeting his best friend since childhood, and it's another guy with a gun for an arm. And I wasn't expecting this guy to just jump off a cliff and kill himself, but he did. This guy went insane before he killed himself. This guy started saying some crazy shit, like he wants to destroy everything, he wants to kill everyone. And then after he kills himself, Barrett says that they are the same, which is technically correct because Barrett is the head of an eco-terrorist group who blows up giant reactors and kills lots of people. And then we have Cloud, who doesn't care about anything, and he blows up giant buildings for money and kills lots of people. He blew up a reactor for 1.5 thousand gil, which is not a lot of money. A cactuar is holding like 7 times as much money. Look at these bouncy balls. Look how rich these bouncy balls are. Look at that gil. I mean, there's no shops even after this point of the game, but Cloud wants 3,000 gil for the next building he blows up, and that's the main character. Sephiroth, who is the main villain in the game, is more evil though than Cloud because he wants to destroy the whole planet and kill everyone, and he actually has a plan to follow through with unless Cloud stops him, and he killed everyone in Cloud's village and burned it to the ground, but maybe that was all in Cloud's head or something. And Sephiroth killed Cloud's mother, or maybe Cloud's mother is Genova, and who is actually Sephiroth's mother. Yeah, so Cloud is actually a Sephiroth clone, so I don't know how much of this is real, but what he thinks is Sephiroth killed his mother and killed his whole village and killed Tifa's father. And I need to finish all the games and even the anime to fully understand what's going on. Look, Barrett doesn't even understand what's going on. How am I supposed to understand what's going on? So, Sephiroth in the remake didn't really make sense. They were just kinda like, he wants to destroy the planet, and we want to save the planet, and Sephiroth wasn't really in this part of the game. In the original game, he wasn't really, like, the remake is about, like, the first 5 hours, like 4 to 5 hours of the original game, and they just stretched it over, like, 40 hours. So, Sephiroth wasn't even in that part, really. And they just wanted to make him the final boss because he's a really cool villain. So they made him the final boss in the remake. And the next game will probably explain Sephiroth better because right after this is the part of the game when they do explain Sephiroth, and Cloud like goes into like he burned down my village, he killed Tifa's father, and he like goes through all the memories of what he thinks Sephiroth did.
You did it!
Yeah.
Alright, good enough. Let's keep on trucking. Not half bad. So do you moonlight as a crane operator or something? Yeah? That went pretty well.
Sure did.
Huh? Wait a minute. Did you just...
Nope.
Don't worry. We'll be on the same page next time.
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, okay? Cloud, up top. Oh, don't leave me hanging. Give me some skin.
The next game will probably be an open world exploration game because that's exactly what happens. I'm actually really excited for this. You should be able to ride a chocobo. You should actually be able to ride a car, a dune buggy, and that might be like the car in Final Fantasy 15, but can go anywhere. It can also go over water through these shallow water patches. I don't think that you'll be able to enter Midgar again because you can't do that at this point in Final Fantasy 7. Midgar is just a section in the game, although it's an important section. In the next game, I think Midgar will just be a backdrop that you can see, but you can't enter it. Overall, Final Fantasy VII is really good. I get it. This is the most popular Final Fantasy game. The story is really good. So many things have copied the story of Cloud and Sephiroth. This dystopian world is copied all of the time, and it's really cool, like a realistic future with this one overarching business, Shinra ruling the world. I love it. I love the story. I hate the new characters that they added into the remake. I hate this new soldier guy who's like competing with Cloud and doing tricks on his motorcycle. I think you're supposed to hate him though. I hate this new materia nerd kid. I hate the whispers. I hate this Cloud character. I hated these stupid ass bandits. Why did they add these bandits into the game?
How stupid can you be? It's crazy simple. Compensatory damages is like, it's like compensation for damages.
Oh yeah! That's what you get when you, when somebody else.
We haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah, we were just passing through.
Oh, a likely story.
Okay, what do you want?
Nothing but our due recompense, that's all.
Due recompense.
Due recompense? No shit for brains, due recompense. It's like, compensatory damages.
Of course,
Damages recompense.
I think that the original Final Fantasy VII is so much better than the remake. And that's after playing them both and beating them both in the year 2021. It sucks thinking about how much time and effort they put into this remake. It has its moments. I guess it's kind of fun sometimes. It's really cool seeing these characters fully realized, and I think they look great, but most of the game is so bad. I am actually very excited about the next game. It should be open world. I have no idea what it's going to be like, but I'm excited for it. One game came out 24 years ago, and the other game came out last year, and I strongly prefer the game that came out 24 years ago. I hope that the next game is better.